Last week, I had a chance to meet Gabriela Ledesma and Callie Schuttera to talk about the latest film, The Last Conceptions. Gabriela Ledesma and Callie Schuttera are founders and production powerhouse behind Poison Pictures, the company that produces the film. The pair met in 2015 and have since written and produced countless projects together, including comedy specials, feature films, live events, commercials, and documentaries. Their work has been featured and acclaimed by Film Pulse, Elle Magazine, Indie Red, Last Movie Out Post, The Switchblade Sister, The Other 50%, Cherry Picks, Film Threat, featuring Film Culture Vulture, and many, many more. Schuttera and Ledesma are married and live in Los Angeles with their daughter, Sophia. Before I get into the video, I just want to remind everyone to subscribe to this channel. And if you do, don't forget to click the notification bell, so that way, every time a video is posted, it'll go directly into your portable. So let's get started. My name is Ardain Isma. I'm the chief editor for CSMS Magazine. Today, it's an honor to have with me two important individuals, two young players in the movie industry. And they call themselves the brain, the powerhouse behind their own production, which they call the production Poison Pictures.
Yes.
I came to know about your productions when I had a conversation with writer Gabrielle Constance. At first, I thought maybe Gabriela and Gabrielle, maybe sister, father and daughter. That's what I thought. And then he told me it was just pure coincidence
Yes.
that you happen to be named Gabriela and he's
Yes.
Gabrielle. And he told me that he was the one who produced a novel and turned it into a screenplay, and then turn around and look for someone who would pick up the story.
Yes.
I asked him this specific question. I said, what led you to Poison Pictures? He said he watched the movie that you produced, movie titled Blue.
Yes.
Which seems to be more biographical. And he says he was touched so much by the movie.
Oh.
He that's what led him to eventually contact you girls for the production. So my question is, he said Blue reflects some personal experiences that Gabriela really do at a younger age.
Yes.
Yeah. So Gabriela, before I ask the questions, what led you to the foundation or the creation of this production? But the movie itself, Gabriela, can you really tell the readers of CSMS Magazine how a movie can be so compelling enough to touch a writer based on his own writing?
And we're talking about The Last Conception.
No, not Last Conception. The
Blue.
Yeah.
I had a huge help from Callie. We co-wrote Blue, and it was hard talking about it. It was hard writing about it, but I had somebody that was there. It was willing to understand, and then we came together and we wrote the script. But it was not an easy task, and she was awesome enough to just have to listen to stories and everything that went through in order to be able to write that into the script without being a completely biographical, and just have some some light and some idea of what happened in the personal life.
We didn't want it to be a verbatim autobiographical story, but we wanted, it was really important for both of us to have sort of the emotions be spot on, but for the actual circumstances of the plot to be a little bit different, so that we weren't telling Gabby's story, but we were definitely telling a more universal story with the very specific pain that goes with it.
Correct. Well, I'm a fiction writer myself, because I know when you're writing fiction, it is something that is based on human behavior. And sometimes when you're writing a fiction work, based on your personal experiences, it becomes just like your baby. So you see yourself into it. So that's why I thought it must have,
which can be dangerous sometimes.
One thing that I talked to Callie from the beginning when we made Blue was that I wanted to help as many people as possible with this movie because it was my first feature film and we didn't have that much money to make it. I want to make sure that people could relate to it. And the one thing that I always had in my mind was every 4 minutes somebody died from suicide. And that was something that I wanted to show in the movie, that things does happen. This is part of our lives. There should not be a taboo. We should be able to talk about it. But mostly important, how can we talk about it? By not forcing into people, but be able to open it in a way that they can relate to it and learn without being forced to learn. Exactly. And I think that was, to me, the most important thing about Blue. It wasn't just talking about my story. It was to say, hey, this story happens to so many people.
And I think that statistic you gave, every 4 minutes, is actually just in the US alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And coming from the military, I saw many things and I've met so many people, and I know how hard it is for them to talk about it, to open up and say, hey, I do have a problem. I do have depression, I have suicidal thoughts. So I think at the end of the day, it's not just about the movie, me and writing. It's about how many people can I help? How many people can watch this and go, okay, it makes sense. It's not gonna disappear and I'm gonna get better and walk on sunflowers, but it's to know that there is a tomorrow, there is a future, and
that the story that we chose to make could relate to more than just one person who's dealt with suicide.
So Callie, in other words, you said that the Blue would be interpreted like just another plea on behalf of those who have been so disenfranchised just because of maybe the color of the skins or sexual orientation or different types
Exactly.
of okay. So I understand that, Gabriela, you were born in Brazil.
Yes, born and raised in Brazil.
And you came to the United States when you were very young.
Yes.
And you went to the military.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. So
it's been a while.
Is that where you met Callie and the military also? No?
No.
I am not disciplined enough to be in the military.
To be in the military, huh?
I'm so grateful for her service, but I don't think I would have lasted.
Really?
Yeah. No, we met Gabby. I know. It's pure honesty. The men and women who serve are much better than I.
Okay.
But I met Gabby when she was doing a casting for her master's thesis short film. Is that right? Is it your thesis?
I think that was my bachelor's.
It was your master's first year. Some
Something
short
like that.
film.
Okay.
And I remember seeing the casting call for this short film, and I liked the script, but I thought, do I want to go to this? It looks like it's a student project. I don't know if I want to do this.
Okay.
And I went, and we really haven't been apart much since then.
We met in 2015. We married in 2016.
Yeah.
5 years later, we still together and making movies.
So and still going strong, huh?
Yeah, we're about to celebrate our 5-year anniversary.
Wow. And I want you guys to keep it up, because the thing is,
Thank you.
Yeah, because I've been married for 30 years. Do you know, when you have the backing of your partner, your wife?
Yes.
It says it all.
It's not even just backing. I met someone that I admire her work. I am a huge fan of not only her as an actress, but also as a writer. That to me, it's kind of a privilege to work and live with somebody that I respect so much and I love working with.
Yeah, I would just more so I was just talking about me, because I know my wife is not a writer. So I know the amount of time it would take for you to conceive a fiction work. So you really have to have not just the shallow kind of, I'm with you, but you really want, because there are times at night she would be snoring in bed, but she knows I'm right there, but I would be wide awake and keep writing and thinking.
Which is if you got with somebody or you got married to a writer, you're screwed. You're gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning like, sorry, I just had an idea.
Gabby will wake me up at 3 in the morning and go, okay, so I know what our next script is about.
Okay.
And then we'll go and we'll write it the next day.
It happens, but that's the fun of being a writer. You know, you look at your spouse and taking a nap, and you're like, I have an idea. Good for you. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. So, Callie, listen. Since you were very young, you knew you were going to be a personality in the movie industry, or you were going to be.
I didn't know movies for sure, but I definitely knew acting. I wasn't sure if it was going to be stage acting or movie acting. But I was very lucky that I was always really sure about what it was going to be. So when my parents were like, hey, what about a doctor or a dentist? I was very stubborn. I knew that there was nothing else for me.
I'm glad. You always want. I'm a parent myself.
I know. I wouldn't let my daughter just say I'm going to be an actress without thinking about other things. So
become a doctor. Then me what?
I know. Luckily,
well, now, which comes to this, Gabriela? There's a question, a very important question in the story, because I watched the movie twice.
Thank you.
It's so interesting. Although it's a romantic comedy, but it underlines a very important message. So yes. I watched the movie twice. Usually.
Me too, a couple of times, yeah.
But usually, whenever parents have to deal with one of their children with the issue of sexual orientation, usually it's the father who reacts angrily the most. But in this particular story, there's a twist on it. So instead of the father being very, it's a shock to him, mom offers the most resistance.
Yes.
So, could you please explain to me the psychological effect behind just seeing?
Absolutely. I think that when it comes to movies, we have a tendency of seeing that the father is against it, the mom is pro, and why not? And I'm not saying that my personal experience was very different than the last conception, but it was somewhere in there. But I find important that Savarna was a daddy's daughter, like they were, friends. They were like together. They're like, let's talk about it. So to me, seeing them, being like, all right, we're going to tell your mom or don't tell your mom, that to me just felt kind of natural, not only based on the book, but also for the character itself.
I was going to say that too. When we read the book, it felt very much like mom was the obstacle of the family, that she ran the system. And if mom doesn't like something, everybody's
yes. And dad is like, all right, let me take care of it.
Because my wife, she's a clinical social worker, and we watched the movie together. Okay, she's the
and
one.
How she felt?
Yeah, who raised the issue. I said, yeah, but she's right. I know how would we act? I would probably have the first reaction.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I think a lot of parents would, and mostly like, if you're that, Indian or Brazilian, like you have a tendency of going, wait, what are we talking about here? You're what?
And I think there are a lot of parents now who aren't necessarily anti-gay, but they still don't want their kids to have to go through the hardship of being gay. I know that was something my mom said to me. She definitely didn't have a problem with it, but she worried a lot that we would encounter.
A lot of parents have that kind of issue. It's not necessarily that you are gay, is that being my daughter, you were gay, and the world is not a nice place, not yet, or at least not in the part of the story, to the LGBTQ community.
But more or less, it's been mainstream. It's not
absolutely
a major obstacle anymore.
Yeah, which is going mainstream so fast. It's really an issue that in the past.
I grew up watching, but I Am a Cheerleader. That was the first movie I watched, and then I was like, oh, people are gay. That's crazy. Me too. Nice. It was so surprising, but that was almost 20 years ago. And there's not many movies that we look at and go, a family can watch together and we can teach each other about just love is love and carry on.
That was
that I thought it was important to not shove, the truth, or don't shove, my ideology and everybody else's of just coming together into people's face when they watch, but also teach them a lesson, say, hey, it's okay. It's somebody else's life. There's no reason for you to panic, So, yeah.
And that was really important to us, that it was a family friendly LGBT movie, because I don't think I can think of any other ones. in all other movies where you see any homosexual characters, it sort of has this like unasked for sexy connotation, but gay people are also boring too, you know, and
they have families.
Just normal, just like everyone else. You know? It's just a question of sexual preference, but that had just like that. I mean, it would be anybody, it would be me, it could be anyone, and it's not anybody's business who I really fall in love with. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
But let me ask you a question, go back to the last conception.
Yes.
I see you guys have managed to secure some very famous, talented actors for the movie. So how did you, I know you're in the industry, so you know how to get to people. So how?
She can.
She did?
Okay.
Okay, Callie, can you explain that?
Well, actually, for this one, we have to give almost all the props to our casting director, Sherry Henderson from Dream Big Casting.
She was fantastic, and she brought up some amazing names. I was already a fan of Matt Richards from HQ Trivia. I play, and I'm really bad at it. And every time I was losing, I look at him and he made a joke, and I'm like, I like you, man. I cannot answer this question, but you're amazing. And I wanted to work with him. Marshall Minash, I wanted to work with him back in Blue, when we made Blue, but he couldn't travel, he couldn't come because we filmed in Ohio.
Yeah, we were on location for that film. And it was Sherry's idea to get.
I was gonna say. So we're a whole day, you know, 2-3 days just doing casting, and the last person that walks in is this gorgeous woman with high heels into the room. She slays. She does a fantastic job. I look at Cam, I look at Sherry, I look like, hold up. And I step aside, like, you know, what's she done? What's going on? Who she is? I had no idea who Nazanin Mandy was. I swear.
Nazanin Mandy?
Nazanin Mandy,
Nazanin Mandy, yeah.
And then they were like, well, you know, she's Miguel's wife. And I was like, well, I'm not going to hire somebody because of, you know, who they're married to.
Okay.
She's amazing. Like, she's really good for the character. And
it just was her.
It worked out. After that, we're like, that's the girl, that's the character, and she pulled it off the character amazingly.
And that was all Sherry's idea. Sherry was thinking about her from the beginning, so we really have to give her a lot of props.
Yes.
Okay, but you had to do a more and deeper audition for the other actors, right?
For everyone, actually. Like I said, Nazanin was the last person to come in for that role, which means we saw hundreds of people for those characters. I just knew that I wanted Marshall Minash
and Matt Richards.
And Matt Richards.
And everyone else had to be auditioned for.
I mean, I'm a big fan of auditions. I'm that kind of director that I like to sit on the audition room, just in the corner. Nobody looks at me, and I'm like, nobody knows who I am.
You know who our hardest was Mom. Vina Badasha, who plays Mira.
She's fantastic.
We got her through a taped audition because we didn't like anybody that we saw in the audition room. We were like, we can't find her. We haven't found a good mom yet.
Okay.
And she was perfect.
Yes.
She was. She was funny too.
We got Josh George with the big, tall guy.
And the movie. Remember when Grandma walked in from India?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And she walked with her some sort of a helper or someone, but
a monk. Yes.
That person has such a spectacular entry, and I was I was thinking maybe he was going to have a much bigger role, but to the end of the movie, I watched for him to see what he's going to do,
and he doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say a thing. He doesn't say a thing. Which remind me of a movie I watched years ago. It's a movie depicting the life of a Haitian independence hero by the name Toussaint Louverture. And the movie was filmed in France, but they brought in a Haitian actress.
Okay.
Yeah, for some sort of specific role, the wife of one of the revolutionary leaders in Haiti. So I know she's such an impeccable actress, but she was giving the role of someone who couldn't speak. She was a great dancer.
Good luck.
You know, wife of someone like a voodoo priest, but a general. But she was never allowed to say a single word, you know. So when I watched The Last Conception, so,
You're like, I see
yeah,
that.
it reminds me of that. So was he okay with that? With playing the role?
Actually, I don't even think.
I don't think he was an actor, was he?
Yeah, that guy's not an actor.
He's not an actor.
We realized we needed an extra monk, and
I wanted like somebody to go with
monk.
grandma at all
Okay.
times. As somebody
Okay.
was not protecting, but her bodyguard, from for the whole religion thing. You come with a bodyguard. You come somebody to protect you. And he was there, and then
and
the
he was
whole
bald.
yeah, he was bald, and I was like,
We wanted a bald monk, and we happened to know through a friend
and
this
he
guy
was,
who was bald.
and he was supposed to only come in for one day, and then I was like, "Are you free tomorrow?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, go, let's do it again."
Yeah,
and then
we liked him a lot, so we kept him.
Yes, it was fun. It was fun. I think that having grandma and having him, I thought it was kind of a fun duo going on. Like those.
There are a lot of people's favorites.
Yes.
If you look at like comments on the movie and things like that and reviews, people love them.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know when you have a production company, you must have something like a marketing department or something, right? Because I see you have been featured in so many venues, critically acclaimed.
I would say actually we've been lucky to get those, because the one thing we've always worked with very small budgets compared to what most of the industry works with. If you think of like your big movies or a Marvel movie, we're like a tiny fraction of that. And
But
so
it doesn't
usually
look that way
again,
though. You must be pretty creative and putting together a movie like this. It doesn't look.
Have you seen my white hair?
there's one white hair for every creative decision.
I'm plenty of white hair. I'm 32.
Doesn't look like a
and
low
all you
budget
can
movie
see
at
is
all.
White hair.
Twisting, man. Keep thinking. So you guys were pretty creative at finding these people, right? Those big venues to accept or acclaim critically your production.
We'd also reach out to places that would give us, instead of paying for a publicist, we do a discounted rate and say, hey, can you hook us up with these 3 reviewers, and we'll give you a shout out here. And it was a lot of creative decision.
But I'm not gonna lie, there's something that happens very often, mostly with The Last Conception, which is people are watching, people are leaving reviews, people are talking about it, people they wanted to know a little bit more, and I found that to be kind of cool. I think that in a way that's free marketing,
and
free publicity.
Exactly. And when you make independent film, you're never gonna have as much money as the big studio budgets to market.
So it's word to mouth.
So it's always about
it's people watching and leaving reviews and say stuff like that. So it's the way that independent movie kind of survives for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I understand that you have another movie at the Zombies of 2020 that was supposed to be released last year. Is it still in the work?
We were planning, yes. COVID has changed a lot of the zombie plans, but that is our next movie in development, and we are currently casting. And so hopefully as soon as the bulk of the population is vaccinated, we'll be getting started on production of that movie. And that'll be our biggest budget yet and our biggest film yet.
Yes.
Really? So which means the actors are already in place and ready to go.
Right, that's what we're in the process of right now. But I'll give you a sneak preview.
No.
Okay,
just give one person who's going to be in it.
Magazine.
Marshall Manesh will be coming on for a small role.
Okay.
Just because we love him so much, he's gonna come on.
He's the best.
So funny too.
You have no idea. Like, it's easy for filmmakers to say, "Oh, I love that person. I love them." Now, Marshall is like the guy that sends you a message literally every day with a meme or something.
He's
like
such a great
He
guy.
is absolutely one of my favorites.
Okay.
And at that moment, I was like, I gotta bring him back at least for a day, just so I can play around and have fun.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. But now, listen, I have one question. Let's say, for example, I know, especially for Gabriela.
Oh.
Me also, I was born in Haiti and come to the United States when I was about a teenager. So I had to learn to speak English. Yeah. So I clearly understand what it means to be living in an immigrant community. I live in suburban Jacksonville, and Jacksonville itself has a huge immigrant population. And
yes.
among them, you see the Indian community that is portrayed in the movie it's pretty, there's a sizable, Indian community. Those restaurants and the shops and all the things that is shown in the movie. So I'm thinking this is a community which will welcome the movie with open arms.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you guys have, let's say, for example, someone or some organization who's pushing the movie on the East Coast?
On the East Coast.
It's funny because I lived in Florida, and I would just say that I when I went to high school in Florida, a lot of my friends was Haitians, and I thought it was amazing to look at each other and go, oh, you also don't speak English. Let's learn, buddy. Let's learn together, and how much those communities were stronger around, Broward County in my case. So, welcome. I guess.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know a middle school by the name Crystal Lake Middle School?
No.
Okay.
I went to Coral Springs High School.
Swing. Okay. That's on the other side. I lived in Broward for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
I lived in Plantation before I decided to move.
Oh my gosh, I have so many friends in Plantation. I'm a big fan of Florida, I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite places is Sunrise, so what can I say?
But I know if you're Brazilian, you must have, some connection with Florida. Because right there in Pompano Beach, Florida, the Brazilian community.
Yes, I know, because that's the restaurants that I used to go, and I miss them here in LA.
Yeah, there's not as many Brazilian restaurants as you'd think in Los Angeles.
Pompano Beach and the food, the Brazilian food.
Exactly.
Ooh, love it.
Right on Simple Road and Copens Road, all these areas.
Yeah, she hasn't been there.
You really need to take Callie on a trip to Florida once COVID is over there. After COVID.
Yes.
I'll be driving there. I'm not even gonna fly. I'm just gonna drive all the way there.
Exactly. Cross country.
Exactly. Go to the beach and enjoy. When it comes to the East Coast, I think that, like we said it before, a lot of publicity and marketing, unfortunately, revolves around money. A lot of places we'll send it out. Let's talk about it. Let's show the movie. And they say, well, there's a fee for me to post, and there's a fee for us to talk, and there's this and that. And I feel that once again, when it comes to independent filmmaking, it's really hard to just break into places because
with money, at least.
With money, because people don't know my name. People don't know what I've done so far. People don't know what I've been doing that is not just relating to features. So,
there's an interesting statistic that says no matter who's in your movie, no matter what your movie's about, that it's the amount of marketing that's put into it that gives you the box office on the end. Yes. So it doesn't matter if you have this great storyline, it's all about exposure, right? So just like you said, do we have someone pushing us on the East Coast?
We would love to.
We would love to, but the people pushing this movie right now is us and our domestic distribution partner, High Octane Pictures. Okay. And they, of course, have a lot of other films they have to focus on too. So really, Gabriel and Gabby and myself have done a lot of the legwork ourselves.
He told me to in that conversation that we had. So as we are coming just to the end of our conversation, I have two specific questions. First, is to Callie.
Okay.
If there was one lesson you'd like to.
Oh wait, hold on. We lost you 1 second.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Trying to turn it up a little bit. I couldn't. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
If there's one lesson that you would like to give to young people like you who would like to get into the acting or movie industry,
sure,
what would it be?
I would say that there's no right way to do it. I went to a really great acting conservatory for college, and they gave you so many great methods, and there's so much out there. There's so many coaches that you can get, so many books you can read.
Okay.
But I think if you're not being true to yourself, then you're not bringing that magic to the roles that everybody really wants to see. And I would say that the journey and the acting itself should always be unique to you, and it shouldn't be someone else's journey or how someone else thinks you should get there.
Correct. And my question to Gabriela. Now, I know the many young Brazilian, young Haitians, young Puerto Rican would look up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a message that you would like to send to them, what would it be?
I would say that the road is never easy. So make sure you love what you do, whatever that is, you know? Because at the end of the day, you gotta say, I'm gonna work harder than anybody else. I am gonna go as farther as anyone I've ever gone. And I will make sure to be the best person I can be, so people can look at me and say, that's somebody worth my time, that's somebody worth working with, and that's somebody worth giving a chance. So at the end of the day, just be true to yourself and just work hard, honestly.
And especially for minorities like me and you, the bars sometimes can be higher than it would be for Callie.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because I had to face that to myself. So
yeah, and it's good to talk about it. I think it's important for people to hear the stories, yours, ours, is to know that it's not impossible. It may seem impossible, it may seem like it's never gonna happen, but to know that every day is a new day.
Exactly.
And you just got to keep on trying.
And I think and hope we're coming to a place where we, in the US, or at least in Los Angeles, are starting to see immigrants as a valuable asset rather than anything lesser. You know, that having that experience is made you so much of who you are.
It is, look, exactly. Like, the same thing happens all the time to me, is that I always been insecure when it comes to my English, the way I talk. And, you know, I learned English when I was 16. You know, it's still to this day, I have words that I look at and I was like, what does that mean? I have no idea. But it's to know that you learn, you keep going, tomorrow's a new day. You know, maybe you're just tongue-tied today, and tomorrow is better. So
and to never let that fear of being embarrassed hold you back.
And and don't use that as a shield, you know, like, oh, I'm this. No, you're whoever you want it to be. You know, it's just, you just gotta believe in yourself and be true to yourself.
That's a great message. Is there any other thing that you girls want to say? I
like talking to you, to be honest.
Yeah, we've got a comedy special coming out soon. We'll have to do another interview for that one.
Okay. So just let me know. So we'll keep in touch, and I would love to have just another conversation.
That sounds great.
Okay.
And enjoy Florida, by the way. It's still there.
Oh yeah, but you know, right now, where I live in Florida, the reason why I love it is because you get to enjoy the 4th season on the first coast of Florida. So right now it's winter. It doesn't look too good. But when spring comes and the flowers bloom again and becomes green again, you can be on the golf course nicely swinging. So, you know. So yeah, you would probably want to come to Florida. And
I would love to. I haven't been there in so long. My father lives there. So so you know, and she hasn't gone. So I have to show our kid Florida again because she probably forgot about it. So no, I would love to. I have a special place for Florida in my heart, and I know that some people, you know, they're not the nicest people when it comes to Florida, but one of the, you know, the most amazing, hardworking people that I've ever met, honestly, came from Florida. So you know, I love that place. I hope to go there soon.
And we'll look you up when we get there.
Okay, exactly. You stop. Remember, I live on the first coast, so you probably come to me first.
Stop here real quick and then go to the other side.
Exactly. That's right.
Thank you so
Big
much.
Big bisous for you too, girl. You know, there's a word in English, in French, it's called bisous, which means little kisses. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Beijos pra você. Beijos.
Beijo or besito. Exactly, girl.
French, and I would just say in Portuguese, beijo, beijo.
It's almost just the same. You know, these are women.
Exactly.
Anyway,
it's perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
It's always. Bye.
We'll talk again soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
What?
You're 30, fam. What you mean so? We getting old, okay? No 30-year-old woman just brings a friend to dinner. They're gonna know.
I'm gay.
They'll be cool with it. They'll come around.
You don't know Indian parents. It's not going to be as easy as you think.
You are serious with this girl? I expect you'll be phoning your mother tomorrow morning as well.
But Grandma's dead.
Not that one. We have something to tell you all. We are Buddhists.
You are direct descendants of Buddha, the last ones.
And your grandma's here to make sure that you get pregnant, Savarna. To ensure that the bloodline continues. Shh, I think she's coming. Act normal. Ma!
Brace yourself.
Having a good time, I hope.
I can make my own decisions. I'm a grown woman.
Don't tell your father.
Well, let me put it this way. If anyone in the modern world were related to Jesus, this would be the best type of proof you could ask for.
Do Savarna and I have any powers?
I thought that's why we were all here, to see if we have Buddha's superpowers.
I can keep secrets.
My mom's gonna hate that.
You think we were joking?
Babe, you are the only one freaking out.
You even like babies?
Oh, no, I mean, my sister's baby smells good. Does that count?
So, how long have you been gay?